Okay, so I've just started on the wicking beds, and I thought I'd better press record and share what I've done in terms of making one. It might be helpful for somebody else.
Rod's just cutting our IBCs in half. We've measured them. Now he's just cutting them. Ta-da!
And these are two of the bottom ones. So you can see these are two of the bottom halves. We've got other ones over the other side of the gully, the top halves. I've kept these over here so that they're the same size. So here I'm using a 2-inch or a 50mm PVC pipe. This is what we're going to put the hose into to water the wicking bed. So this takes the water down into the bed. I've attached it with a tie. Don't know what we ever did before we had these invented. Hopefully whoever invented them has done very well out of them. So I've attached it here. I don't need to attach it at the bottom, and I don't want to put holes in the bottom because the weight of the material in the wicking bed will hold that against the wall. So I've done that. I just drilled a couple of holes through here to allow that tie to go through. I've levelled the bed. Now, of course, this may not be exactly the same all the way around, but it's pretty close. And then once I put a little bit of water in, I was able to just alter the height slightly, and the water helped me with the levelling then. So that's worked very well. And I just used the pebbles here that they're sitting on to alter the height. So that made that quite easy, and it was amazing how quickly, once you put a bit of water in there, how heavy that container got. Just with a bit of water, it's just amazing how heavy water really is. So you can see here where I've put that PVC pipe in, and at the end of that connection, what I've done is I've glued a connector here to this blue connection. That's going to go on the end of that pipe there. That will then allow this draining pipe that has holes all the way through it to connect to the blue, the inside there. That won't come out then. And I've chopped that in half, but I'm not sure if that's too much still. I might chop it in half again, and we'll see. I don't think it needs to fill the whole space in here, but just enough crisscrossing. Once I've got the pipe in there, I'm going to cover it with some material that will stop any of the gravel to get into the pipe itself. And we're using cracker dust. Now, if you were to do a search under wicking beds, best wicking material to use, a gentleman has done a very good YouTube video on that. And as a result of watching that, we're going to use cracker dust for the wicking. It's one of the best materials. It's a sharp rather than rounded, so it'll allow the water to go through it quite well. And then on top of that, we will put the some more cloth so that the soil won't go into the cracker dust, and then we'll put the soil on top of that, about 200 millimeters. So basically it'll be, just show you, it'll be half of this will be cracker dust and the top will be soil. So I'm just clear this in just to see how far it goes. It's not the cheapest material, just saying. So what I'm going to do is put it in so that it connects here and then circles around the outside and then into the middle. Take this out of here and push that. See, this blue connection has little grabs in here, which then stops this from being pulled out. So you can either screw that in, push that in. And then this will go onto there. Now I could glue that onto there, but this is such a good tight fit. So here's the cloth. Everhard Industries, wherever they are, and this is for doing draining, that kind of thing. People use it on retaining walls and what have you. So that's going to work very nicely. It's just the perfect length. And if I do a nice square like that, that's going to work very well. Now, I think I'm going to get some scissors. See if I can grab my wife's dressmaking scissors. I was joking about the dressmaking scissors. She's away at the moment, so she would not know. Anyway, my goodness, these are very blunt scissors. Now I'm going to wrap that piping. With this material, make it nice and flat. Maybe I could have made it a bit bigger. It's all good, but you need to obviously have an overflow pipe so that when it rains or when you put the water in, you can tell when it's full, because water just starts coming out of your overflow pipe. So that's what all this is about. But where to put it? The way I'm going to do it is have a piece going through, and that could be down as low as this, it could be up here, but if it's up there then the water level must get to there, whereas if I have it down here and then I can adjust the level of the overflow by twisting this up and down, cutting that off, you know, somewhere like that, or maybe so that it gets to the height of that if I ever wanted to fill the whole garden up with water. And then you just tip it slightly on its side, and that will enable you to put the overflow at anywhere above that point. which I think works quite nicely. So I bought this from a plumbing shop at Gympie, and this will enable us, it's got 2 seal rubber rings here. One will go on the inside of the IBC, one on the outside, and that will go on the inside. I'll put some plumbing thread here to join this together, and then I'll cut a small piece off here, which is about 1-inch pipe. Okay, so I just chopped off a piece on the bench saw. Assuming you know how to use a bench saw. You could use a hacksaw. You want something nice and fine that'll do a nice cut without chipping, which this did very nicely. And then I'm going to glue that inside there, and then this piece will go on there like that. Now I'm not going to glue this. I might glue this piece, but this one I need to leave loose so that I can actually spin it around as needed. When I say loose, it's actually quite tight, which is brilliant. I'm just going to put some plumbing tape around here. It's nothing special, but it works amazingly well. Again, whoever invented that, hopefully they've made a lot of money, because it's one of those simple but ingenious inventions. And those simple, ingenious inventions are usually the best. The complicated ones are the ones that typically fail. So this will screw into here. I'm just going to use a couple of wrenches to do that. In fact, I don't think I need to. And I think that's sealed beautifully. So that's not going to leak. I'll test that, of course. If it does, I'll take it off, put an extra layer of the plumber's tape on, but that went on nice and firmly. So now I'm going to glue this piece into there. And I've got this product, which is PVC pipe cement. What I like about this one is, instead of just having a paintbrush, it's got this beautiful little, actually it's old, but it's good enough. It's got this lovely round sponge, so you can actually just run it around the inside and it works beautifully. So that's what I'm going to do here. Just around the inside there like that. What you got to do is let it dry, so it's tacky. And then I'm just going to run this. See how sweetly this just spins around? Look at that. And just feel it with your finger, and already it's right to go. So I'm just going to push that in there. Nice. So of course I could have done this after I installed it in the IBC, but if I do it now, I'm not putting any pressure on all the other joints. And I'm looking at that thinking maybe this is just a little tad long, because it's going to sit out that far, which is kind of unnecessary. So I think I'm going to just trim that off. Quite a lot actually, maybe 1 inch. I don't again want to glue this to this, because this needs to be able to turn. What I will do though is glue this to another piece like this, which will be about so long, and I'm going to go and cut this 1 inch and this where my finger is now, and I'll be back. So I'm going to put this in here like this, and that will can then go like that here, like that. So what I've got is the cutting tool that will cut perfect size hole for this. Look at that. So that'll cut that. That'll be sealed here with these rubber washers, and we'll be laughing. Screws into here, all that, not too far, and then see it's got these little gaps here, which I really like this one because then they don't jam. If you screw this on the other side, it pushes from here. Well, get that into focus. It pushes these little tabs out into here to stop that from spinning. There you go. Let's see if you can see that happening. So that's just brilliant. So that way these don't lock up. Some of the tools that I have used in the past, like this, you cut them and then they spin on and they lock up and they're very hard to get off. This is an ingenious invention. I love it. I just love tools, can you tell? Right, so from here, put that in the drill, set that to 2. I just need to make sure that I leave enough space with these washers. Alright, so that's off there. Washer comes off there. And using this as a template, mark where we want it to go, sort of in the middle there. Beautiful round hole. This going in like that. This clamping this washer on the other side. So I'm just now going to go and chop a bit of this off because we obviously don't need that much. Actually, while I was going over to chop it off, I had a bit of a brainwave, as I think it is. What I decided to do is leave this on there long, so that I'm going to put some of this cloth on the end here and then zip tie it. Obviously I'll do this after I've screwed it in, and that way the rock material, the cracker dust, won't come out into the pipe itself, but stay out there. So brilliant idea, I thought. Every now and again it happens. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to put this in here like that. Put the washer on the other side. Screw this for about half an hour. Alright, so that's now on there. I'm going to tighten that up with a couple of what we call in Australia multi-grips, but I think in other parts of the world they call them wrenches. So I'll just tighten it up a little bit. Don't know. It has to be too tight. Anyway. Tight enough so it doesn't leak, I guess. And I'll obviously check that as I fill it up with water. I'll know if that leaks very quickly. And then I could put some sealant around it maybe, I guess. Right, so then I'm going to put the cloth on. A couple of zip ties. Actually, it only needs one. It doesn't have to be pretty. So this is how that ended up on the end there. I'm going to glue this onto there, but not onto here. And then that will sit there like that. And then we can adjust the overflow as we like it. And hopefully that doesn't leak. If it does leak, then we'll have to just fix where we want the overflow to be, and that's just how it will be. But we'll give this a try to start with. But I'm going to glue, obviously, this one into here now. I've put in a fair bit of cracker dust now. I've been washing it, rinsing it, and this is not leaking at all, which is brilliant. So I'll just unscrew this and see what comes out. So it is dirty water coming out, of course, but I'm not sure it really matters. At the end of the day, it's just dust, isn't it? Natural dust. So I kind of think I won't worry about cleaning it. The only problem is I didn't put that cloth on until I thought about it, and so I've got a bit of cracker dust here, which is now stopping me from closing the valve here. Okay, so a little bit's happened. I found out that the cloth over the end of the overflow plug was plugging things up too much, to the point that the overflow was just dribbling out. So I took that off. Well, I couldn't get it off, so I just punched a hole in it. So it's kind of working better now, but even so, it's quite slow. halfway up what it needs, so I think probably one bucket, maybe a little bit more, might do it. So just a couple of things to note with the T265, or in America T264 tractor. First time I've used it without an implement on the back, and clearly with the weight on the front, it does change the dynamics quite a lot. I didn't have any trouble on the flat. As soon as I got to a slight grade, when I was getting, especially when I was getting the cracker dust, which is more concentrated, I guess, in terms of its density, I did feel that the tractor start to shift its weight, and so I just simply lowered the front bucket down, and it was fine. And going slowly, it was fine. But it was important for me to note that change, and the reason why I didn't put an implement on the back is because I'm wanting to put the backhoe on once this job is done. But the lesson is, what does it take? 10 minutes to put an implement on the back, and could have saved a lot of money if I end up rolling it. So I'm just taking it very carefully. I did notice that coming up the hill here, I wasn't able to leave the causeway there without putting it into four-wheel drive. I just wasn't getting the traction on the back. So I had to put in four-wheel drive, which was more weight on the front, and so I got up to here, and then once I started to turn, before then I put it back into two-wheel just so I didn't damage the lawn too much. Anyway, that's by the by. Now that there's pressure from above coming from the soil, that overflow is working quite well. It's a bit level. It just needs that little bit more, I reckon. So I'm going to go get another half a bucket. Won't use it all, and then we'll be done, I reckon. Now I know Okay, so these are the wicking beds that we made out of IBCs. These are two bottoms of IBCs. We've got the tops over the gully. We're going to use them as gardens as well. And so now I'm in the process of putting some timber frames up, and I'm just screwing those to the side of the IBC with metal screws, and then that will allow me to put some planking along the sides to make it not only attractive but practical in terms of stopping the sun from deteriorating the plastic. Even though it's treated plastic, it may become brittle over time. So even though I'm doing the sunless side, which is the southern side, so it doesn't quite make sense, this side I'm doing first simply for beautification reasons, because this is the side that we see the most of. So I thought I'd get this done for the sake of my wife and my parents, and then we'll work on the other side. So I've just drilled maybe an 1/8 of an inch, actually probably more like 1/16 of an inch drill into the metal support up here, as I did there, and then used a metal screw with a countersunk head, so that'll countersunk into the soft timber, and then we've got a nice flat surface to screw into with the covering timber. Now the timber that we're using is from crates, pallets, and we've broken them apart. Julie and I shared that job. She just did the last little bit of getting the nails out. You know, it's a bit of a time-consuming job, but you get the timber for free, and some of it's quite nice. So let's get started with that. I'm just putting the top screw of this one in, and then that'll allow me to get a nice, solid, fixed surface to put the bottom one in. There you go. So that's not going anywhere. And then it's got a screw hole here. I'll screw into that now, which will take me through into the metal base there. Then I'll screw this, drill this out with a 1/4 inch drill bit, and then put the screw in. Right, so that's 4 in. I was thinking of putting these end ones on the edges, but I thought better of it in the end, in that they may not be as sturdy and may not look as nice. So we'll use a bit of extra timber, but as I said, we got it for free. So from here, we're going to put these slats on here, screw them on. These we got for free, and they're the perfect length, as it turns out, so that's awesome. And the main thing here is that I want to make sure that I'm spacing these so that I can get around these pipes outlets quite nicely and easily without too much cutting. Okay, so what I'm doing here, I'm getting another piece of timber the same depth as this one, just resting it there to allow me then to put this timber that will be going around the edge there, here, so that's at the right depth. That gives me my end point here. And then at this end, this is going to simply overlap like that. So whatever end goes there, we'll just overlap that there. I'm not sure if it's going to be exactly the same for each piece yet, or whether it'll look better just having it, odd. But we'll see. And that's going to work quite nicely, actually. That I'd like to say that was planned, but I'll just say it was planned that way. So here I've just put one screw in, and then I'll be putting another one here. I've just got the level there, so I'm now leveling this to make sure that this is nice and horizontal. So you can see that bubble coming up there. So once I've got that level, I'll be just putting a screw in the other end, and that will give us the level all the way along. Okay, so that's on their level. I was going to put 4 screws here, but I don't know. I don't know if that needs it, and if it does at some point in the future, I can always put more on. So that's working fine, I think. What I have made sure is that I've selected a piece the same width as this one for up there, so that will look all uniform along there, I think. Now, if these ones are different widths, that's fine in terms of look, I think, just so long as the next one is the same width. I think that'll look good. So now I'm just going to go through all these different timbers we've got here and select the right ones, line them all up and put them on. These here, I'm going to just notch that out a little bit there. I think we just get a board and use the same board each time for the gap. Looks like that one's going to need a bit of trimming as well. Oh, maybe not. Maybe it's just perfect. Nice. It's going to be a bit tricky if you lose some tools down the inside of that. It's going to be fun to get out. Alright. Take that board out of there. Level, it's a little bit high. Alright, so I've got these two pieces of timbers together. This is the one that I'm trying to put a nice curve into. So I'm just doing this by very roughly, and I'm hoping it'll all work out. Let's see. So this is where I'm Going to put this timber piece there like that. And it's worked very nicely. Let's see if it's the right spacing. It looks perfect to me. Going to put this overflow pipe down so it's in the right spot, just allowing the water level to be about there, which is just below the level of the soil in the wicking. So this is what we have so far. I haven't screwed in the top ones yet, so I need to do some trimming and screwing, but that's how it's supposed to, or it will rather, end up all the way around the garden. I think it looks very nice. So what I ended up doing here is the overflow, and because the overflow just dribbles out, it doesn't pour down here. If it's raised up, it will run all the way down here and here. So to keep it away from the timber, I just put a little tie here, which then catches the water and runs it down. And as you can see, it just drips down from there. And I gathered some moss and in both of those places, and that's going to do quite well there. I'll put some ferns here as well, I think, because this is always going to be a bit dark and moist. This is on the southern side, so we'll never get the sunshine on this side. This will always be in shade. So perfect for ferns.